do a lib. Show them a lib.
That's
So,
a lib.
make sure, again, high V, tight lines, hips forward, so whenever they hit the stunt, you're going to have a lot of them, what we call butt outs. So make sure that they push their hips in, this foot is directly beside their knee, and they're holding a tight lib. So if they can't hold this on the line, it's going to be even harder when they get to the stunt. Okay? Then pull a heel stretch. And one of my pet peeves. So heel stretch, back foot. Should be in front of them. A lot of them do it easier, turning out, because their hips are not as flexible, so they pull to the side. So make sure that they're always pulling heel stretch up here.
Yeah, you're good. Aren't you so glad you just did that?
Good on your knees. Good on your knees. One good stretch that you can do where they can partner up with is Aaron's grabbing on the back of my legs, and then you hold up like this, and you just pull it in, and when you start to feel their hamstrings get really tight, just hold it right there for like 30 seconds, it'll loosen up for a minute, and then you just pull up even more. Okay, so that's a really good stretch for them to do. Obviously, splits are really good for them to do before they even get to any of this, so try to make sure your flyer has her dominant leg split. All three are even better.
And we do recommend when the kids are helping each other to stretch that you make them mindful that there is such a thing as overstretching. They can rip each other apart. So you just need to keep a really close eye on them because it kind of becomes a game sometimes. We've just seen it happen. That, they're stretching, and the next thing you know, they've thrown their whole body weight into something, and then you have an issue. So stretching is great as long as it's a really controlled thing. Okay?
All right, so the knee stand?
Yeah, knee stand. And from a knee stand, you can do a lib, a stretch, a scale. These are under midgets. What I would, as they're showing this, what I would just recommend is when you're putting your routines together, Michelle, make sure that this is correct. But if I were judging, I would want to see solid stunts. I would not score you higher because you were pushing the envelope in your division with the most difficult stunt. But you're doing that most difficult stunt and it's all over the place and half of them fall out. I would rather see you do a nice, tight, sharp, clean routine, and timing is going to be everything. So I would rather see a knee stand into a lib with 7 stunt groups, and they all hit that right at the same time. And I would rather see that than see you try at the same, a teddy bear, straddle, sponge, crack, all that kind of stuff. If it's not going to work, I'd rather not see that. Okay? Go ahead.
Go ahead and just do a lib. Can you all see?
So there are 2 different ways for the
We'll turn it around here in a minute.
to grab. He can either grab the toe, so that he's holding. So hold the toe if he's supporting the toe. He can grab the ankle so that he's supporting the ankle. Or he can grab a little bit higher. It just depends on the comfort level and what you want to do. I personally suggest grabbing the ankle. You have more control. You can grab more of the top of the foot and the ankle. That way you can control the whole foot and their ankle. Left hand should always be above the knee and helping pull up. So you want to squeeze and pull the stunt up so there's a little bit less pressure on your foot and it helps her more evenly distribute her weight.
Turn it at an angle. And it's very important that you are reminding your flyers that they are not, we don't like lazy flyers. Lazy flyers, let's face it, your flyers are usually your smallest kids on the team. And sometimes there's a mindset that, oh, we're just little and they can hold us and throw us around. No, that is not how it works. Every flyer, no matter how small you are still heavy. Let's face it. Kelsey Lynn is still heavy. Look, it's Khalil. She's heavy standing on Khalil right there. Okay? So your flyers, well, this isn't going very well. Kelsey Lynn probably hasn't done a knee stand for, she's so old now at 11. She hasn't done this for a long time. But it's very important that you're teaching your flyers from the beginning that they have a huge responsibility to hold everything tight. Their core. Maddie, I'm going to put you up there doing that in a minute. You know that.
It's so funny that it's harder on the knee stand than it is in the air.
Yeah. It is, and it's not easy. from the knee by any stretch. So,
Well, that and clearly not even meat on his legs, so.
when the flyer steps up, very important that the flyer pushes off of that shoulder. The person squeezing everything, you can tell your little ones to squeeze a dollar bill between their butt cheeks. As they get older, a dollar bill's not gonna work, you're gonna have to tell them it's $100 bill before they're gonna be interested in that, but that'll work for you, just go up the monetary value. Good, Maddie. Look at that, the mini just showed you up right there. Good girl.
It's important for the person who's the back base or back spot, whichever you call it, is holding hips. And it's really, really important to teach the flyers not to go forward. If they're gonna fall backwards. There are people behind them, there's no one in front. They'll just eat that in front. And they're supporting the hips and just helping like keep the flyer stable the whole time for a knee stand.
Can you show from the gut? Anybody do a gut stand?
Yeah.
Why don't you move up? Y'all getting further and further away. Okay. Okay, that is a gut stand.
So for the gut stand, it's important that the bases don't have straight arms. They have bent arms. It should be at about belly button. If it's any lower, they have a lot less control. But if it's up here, so they have one hand under the foot and one hand on the leg. Usually above the knee is the best place. That way they have more control of the foot. If something starts to go wrong, they can turn it either way, and they can help with their left hand as much. If it's straight, they can't really turn the foot or adjust as needed.
And there is a gut stand with two in your group. And I'm assuming they can do a single man.
Yeah, they
A
can.
one-man
They have
gut?
on here too, yeah.
Okay. Okay, alright.
So it's the same deal where they're keeping it at their belly button level. It's not going any lower. So the bases should have bent arms, which means they have to work a little bit harder. And if they squeeze their arms in harder, it's easier for them to hold.
If you want to put a front person in there, you can. We have, a lot of times you have a lot of people on your squad, so we have a lot of reasons. If you want to be safe, you want to get them involved, we can use front spots in other area that we need to, just kind of help out with the stability of that stuff.
So yeah, the front spot is there just in case the flyer doesn't listen and falls forward, and to help kind of lift this stunt up from the front. They're not doing a ton of technique stuff as a front spot because there's not like a lot of room for them, but it's a good place to get them used to and learning stunts. They learn how to stunt. They kind of get to see from a different perspective, which kind of helps them learn the basics a little bit more.
Bases, one thing that's very important that you teach them from the beginning is that their power is coming out of their legs. Okay, so we see a lot of athletes who have learned some stunting and they're just kind of standing right like this. There's no stability. We show it incorrectly. There's no stability if your bases are completely locked out. We call this an athletic stance. Can you just show, do it right first. Athletic stance is sunk down. Okay? Well, no, that's the bad. Butt out is always bad. Locked out, butt out. And what is that going to hurt? It's going to hurt their back, and it will hurt their back more quickly than you think, even doing the most basic things. So butt is always tucked under, so pretty dandy. That is great. And this athletic stance allows your bases to cut and move, basically. It gives them the power and the stability they need, but it also makes sure that if their flyer is starting to fall out of that stunt, this stance is going to allow them to move where they need to move to catch that flyer if she's coming out. If they're here and that flyer starts to fall, they're probably going to fall with the flyer. Okay? So, always a good athletic stance. And when they're here, their power is going to come. They're going to come here, and that power is going to transfer all the way up and through their arms, no matter what level stuff they're doing. So, all that